and welcome to another episode of Transport in Africa, a weekly podcast dedicated to spotlight cutting-edge research, innovations, and ideas shaping transport systems across Africa. I am your host, Polycarp Chebe. In each episode, we sit down with a researcher, practitioner, or change maker who is redefining how mobility works in Africa. In today's episode, we are turning our focus to Freetown, Sierra Leone, where an exciting new mobile app has been developed to help commuters estimate public transport fares in real time. In a city where informal transport is the norm and fare fluctuations can be unpredictable, this app aims to bring transparency and convenience to everyday travel. Joining me is Dr. Simon Stephenson Toure, a lecturer and researcher at the Department of Civil Engineering, Furabe College, University of Sierra Leone. He led the development of this dynamic fare estimation tool. We will talk about the motivation behind the app, how it works, what makes it unique in the African transport tech space, and the broader potential it holds for urban mobility in the region. Hello, Dr. Simon. Good to have you on this platform.
Hi, Polycarp. Thank you. And thank you for having me.
To start, can you tell us a bit about your research or professional background and what inspired you to develop a public transport fare estimation app specifically for Freetown, Sierra Leone?
Sure, Polycarp. My name is Simeon Stephenson Toure. I have a background in civil engineering with research interest in urban public transport planning, big data for transport, climate resilient transport infrastructure, and geotechnical engineering. For the past 6 years, I've been researching the public transport sector of sub-Saharan African cities, with close attention to that of Freetown, Republic of Sierra Leone. In all of those years, I asked myself two simple questions. One, how transparent, equitable, and fair is the public transport fare structure in sub-Saharan Africa? Two, why just a flat fare for all public transport modes, regardless of distance? A synthesis of knowledge revealed no concrete fare structure for public transport services in Freetown. Instead, the public transport fare is disproportionately implemented, leaving rooms for necessary negotiations between mates or conductors and commuters. And so to address this problem, I decided to develop a kilometer-based dynamic fare estimation app called app-FEsApp for public transport services in Greater Freetown.
Thank you very much, Doc, for that brief introduction to the public transport landscape in Sierra Leone and the motivation behind the development of this innovative app. Can you walk us through on how the app works, perhaps giving us a simple example of how someone might use it to estimate fares?
Sure. This easy-to-use app leverages AI and is built on economic principles. So once you pick the app, you snap to your current location and destination. The app automatically estimates the distance between your origin and destination. You then input the current fuel price, select the transport mode, the environmental and traffic conditions for which you want to estimate the fare. Once that is done, the app will estimate the transport fare for those conditions. It will display in a table what constitutes the estimated fare, thereby addressing transparency issues. For the same trip length, you can also instantly estimate the transport fare for 5 public transport modes, like your minibuses, your two-wheelers, the three-wheelers, taxis, etc. And this would also address issues that have to do with equity and fairness. And the app can also simulate the change in transport fare over time. That is, once you pick the app, it has the ability to estimate dynamically how the transport fare prices will vary over time, maybe for the next 1 week, maybe for the next 2 weeks, for the next 1 month. And this provides public transport commuters vital information in planning their trips, especially relating to their economic status in the city of Freetown. And so this is basically what the app does at the moment.
They're like Uber, like Bolt, like Yango, like Ferris, and others that offer fare estimation for taxi services. What makes your app different or more suited to Freetown's public transport system?
Yes, this is very important, Polycarp. Unlike other apps, app-FEsApp is not only meant to book a ride. It presents public transport authorities with a dynamic fare estimation formula. And this formula responds to changes in economic, environmental, and traffic conditions. On the side of the commuters, app-FEsApp is meant to help them estimate the fare for various public transport modes. And so depending on the prevailing economic, environmental, and traffic conditions, the estimated fare may be different for the same trip length using various public transport modes, such as minibuses, three-wheelers, two-wheelers, and taxis. So this actually sets app-FEsApp apart from the other demand-responsive services like Uber, Bolt, Yango, and InDriver.
Developing an app for public transport fares might not be easy. What were some of the major challenges you faced in the process of developing this app? And what are some of the current limitations you are dealing with as far as the app is concerned?
This is also very important. Challenges come from everywhere, especially in this area of research. Well, before developing the app, the key challenges were related to the extensive data collection and analysis I embarked on a couple of years ago. And this has to do with navigating through the city of Freetown using various public transport modes just to have a mix of what happens in terms of public transport operations in the city. During the development of the app, getting the right logic that would mimic ground conditions was one of the major challenges I faced. With the advent of AI and machine learning and all of that, for us engineers, in most cases, we find it difficult to write code. And so it brings some form of limitations as to how to go about in formulating the right code to reflect what you want to solve. But again, what is more important is sometimes we don't have to write the code. We only need to understand what the code does and how we can streamline that code to what we want to do. So this becomes apparently a key challenge in trying to narrow down the various codes that are available out there to the public transport fare estimation app I was trying to develop. And during the implementation, the major challenges I am facing currently are acceptance, sponsorship, and adoption by the relevant stakeholders. The app is bringing something new. Prices are estimated by various stakeholders in the country, the Ministry of Transport, public transport operators, etc. And sometimes public transport users do not have a fair idea of what goes into the estimation of the fare they pay. All what they know when you ask them, they will tell you, oh, it's because of increase in fuel prices. That is why the transportation fare has also been increased. What about other factors? What about weather condition? What about time of the day that you are traveling? What about traffic conditions? They actually don't have a fair idea of all of these factors. So this app actually brings these factors to light and let them know that this is what goes into your estimated fare and this is how your fare is being estimated. And so these challenges are there because this app is challenging the old way of estimating fares in the public transport setting of Freetown.
Before we continue, permit me to ask you this question concerning the users. How easy is it for users to access this app and use it with ease in predicting transport fares for their trips?
A very important question, Polycarp. Currently, the app is a web-based app. The web-based version is available, still working on it to develop it into a mobile application. And once that is done, the app will be freely available to commuters. So you can stay at home, plan your trip. You can be in your office, plan your trip. You can be at various public transports, bus stops, terminals, or stations, and also plan your trip. So it's very easy to use. You access it through your mobile phone, and then you key in the necessary parameters, and then estimate your trip. Most importantly, you should know your origin, which of course the app will automatically snap to your origin once you log in. And then you know where you want to go, so that the app could estimate the distance between those two origin and destination points. So once that is clear to you, and you also have a fair idea of the time of the day, the weather conditions, and the traffic conditions for which you want to estimate the fare, then you are good to go. It's very easy, it's user-friendly, and it's adaptable to the public transport space of Freetown.
Simeon, looking ahead, do you intend to make this app available to the public? And are there plans for updates, partnership, or scaling it beyond Freetown?
Certainly, Polycarp. The short-term plan is to pilot the app along a single corridor in Freetown. This is actually to help me solicit feedback from users, that is drivers and commuters, which would help improve the quality of the app. The midterm plan is basically to integrate with an online fare payment system to scale up to other corridors and look for possible collaboration and partnerships. And the long-term plan is to scale up to other cities in SSA. As you are aware, the public transport space of Freetown is not too different from that of Ghana, from that of Kenya, from that of Liberia, from that of Nigeria, etc. So once we get it in good shape in the city of Freetown, I'm sure that scaling it up to other cities, especially in sub-Saharan Africa, would be another productive and efficient path to take.
If I understand well, the app is still to be piloted. So far, have you talked with maybe other experts in the field about the app? And if yes, what are some of the feedbacks you have received about it from other people?
Yes, I pitched the app to my colleagues here on campus, and I pitched the app to my professors. I pitched the app to different groups of people, especially public transport users. And I've also tested the app with a set of university students, but I have yet to carry out an extensive pilot with drivers and commuters of various public transport modes. And so what I'm doing currently is to put together a proposal to the Ministry of Transport and Aviation for possible sponsorship in order for me to pilot the app in Freetown. The feedback so far from the colleagues I've engaged are positive, and they also encourage the onward development of the app. And in fact, some of them are coming from different countries, and they suggested that once this is okay in Sierra Leone, then we can scale up in a form of collaboration with them so that they too could possibly contribute to solving a similar problem in their various countries.
Happy to hear that you have talked with some people and so far you have got some positive feedback about the app, and looking forward for more insights when you eventually pilot the app with transport users, that's bus owners, minibus owners, and public transport users themselves. Integration and sustainability are key in transport innovations. Are you considering integrating the app with existing digital platforms in Sierra Leone?
Yes, Polycarp, plans are underway to actually engage public transport providers or operators and regulators, especially the Ministry of Transport and Innovation. This ministry actually regulates all public transport services in the country. And of course, there are sub-agencies and sub-unions and sub-associations that also help in providing public transport services in the country. So there are plans to engage them for possible integration into their digital platforms, and especially the World Bank and Ministry of Transport and Innovation Government of Sierra Leone sponsored project that is ongoing, the Sierra Leone Integrated and Resilient Urban Mobility Project. And this project actually has a lot of packages, and one of which is the introduction of formalized high quality buses. And you would agree with me that such an introduction would actually have an effect on existing public transport services. So what is new? What is this new public transport system bringing? If we can possibly collaborate with them, engage with them, and integrate this app with the new system they are bringing in, I think it will not only speak of innovation, it will also speak on leveraging existing or local knowledge as a contribution towards enhancing public transport services in the city of Freetown. And there are also plans to possibly collaborate with telecommunication companies and even mobile services in the country for online fare payments, which would contribute to an effective, efficient, sustainable, and a well-integrated public transport system in the form of fare integration.
You started highlighting some of the potentials of this app. Do you think innovations like this could play a role in improving public transport planning or access, not just in Freetown, but across Africa and the world at large?
Yes, although the tech landscape of Freetown is still not at the advanced stage yet, I see a feature where our innovations as researchers will change the narrative in public transport landscape of African cities. And as I mentioned, using local knowledge, using existing transportation services to build or develop innovation for a city that relies on informal public transportation, the paratransit. I think it provides that level of confidence that even if it's not going to happen now, but in the mid or long term, innovations would actually find a good space in the public transportation of Freetown and other cities with similar public transport setting. So innovations will actually improve transport planning and will also enhance accessibility in Freetown and other cities in sub-Saharan Africa.
Before we wrap up this conversation, is there anything else you would like to share with our listeners, perhaps about the app or your future projects?
Yes, I understand that my app will face strong resistance to adoption. And this is basically due to its ability to address fairness, equity, and transparency. These are key service attributes that cannot be easily achieved. But in the face of promoting the concepts of smart and integrated cities, I think it is important for researchers and practitioners alike to constantly push these tech initiatives, regardless of the early resistance. With time, they will receive the attention they deserve. And going more into research has been a passion. And there are more ongoing works, especially related to innovation, technology, in shaping the public transport space of Freetown are ongoing. I can assure you that once we receive the green lights from the relevant stakeholders, especially the regulating body of public transport services in Freetown, there are more of these innovations that will unfold in the near future.
That brings us to the end of this episode of your weekly podcast on transport in Africa. Thank you very much, Dr. Simon, for sharing insights into your innovative app that could reshape how commuters navigate public transport in Freetown, Sierra Leone. I wish you all the best in your professional journey. And one more thing, I recently learned that you defended your PhD. Congratulations for this academic achievement.
Thank you. Thank you so very much, Polycarp, and thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to discuss or engage what I do as a researcher, especially this app, which I'm very much passionate about. It is my hope that it will receive the attention it deserves. It will receive sponsorship, adoption, collaboration, and partnership, so that all of us together can move Africa forward, especially our public transport services, and which would actually contribute to livability of people in already congested cities. Thank you, Polycarp. It's my pleasure to share with you what I do as a researcher.
Thank you very much. If you enjoyed this episode or learned something new, please consider subscribing to our page. You can also contribute by sharing this podcast with friends and colleagues who are interested in transport and mobility issues in Africa. If you are a researcher or practitioner working on transport in Africa and would like to share your work on this platform, feel free to reach out to me at chebechesifu@campus.technion.ac.il and we can discuss how to feature your work on this show. Until next time, I am your host, Polycarp Chebe. Thanks for listening and bye-bye.